Hey everyone, coming up, we're going to be discussing our dining review of Vivo Italian Kitchen at Universal CityWalk. It was amore, maybe. Live from the Bob Varley studio, this is the Universal edition of the Diz Unplugged. This is episode 66 of the Diz Unplugged Universal Edition. The Diz Unplugged Universal Edition is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect vacation. Visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Hey everyone, welcome to another week of shenanery and foolishness and everything else that we do on this show. I am your host, Greg Williams.
Yay.
Greg Williams. And joining me today is Jenny Lynn Knopp.
Hello.
And in the back on the controls, Rhino Clavin.
Hello.
Hello.
I think you should say...
It's me.
No.
I'll just call. I can't remember
I
the
swore
rest of
you
the
were
words,
going to
sorry.
do it in falsetto. How did you miss that opportunity?
He said hello. And the
I was
Adele
going
song.
for a little Neil Diamond.
Oh, I thought we were going for the Adele
I
song.
thought we were on the Tiny Tim kick today.
We're just all over. Maybe I'll do my Oh Hanukkah for you later.
Not quite there yet in the holiday scheme of things.
I'll
but
save that for the December episode.
Okay.
Okay, very fantastic. Very good. Today, we have a huge episode. Well, in comparison to other ones,
I was like,
it's
is it that
not
huge?
anything. But in terms of our excitement for it, it's a huge episode because we are talking about Vivo Italian Kitchen at Universal CityWalk. It's not brand new or anything at all like that, but because it has been around for over a year now. But at the same time, too, now that it's been out for a while, got its legs and bearings, we wanted to go back and do a nice little re-review of it. I don't think we actually have ever reviewed it on the show, but I've reviewed it in terms of text. So we wanted to go back
a blog post.
as a blog. We wanted to do it again, so we knew whether or not we could recommend it for people coming in for Dizapalooza.
I'd never been there.
And just people in general who still haven't made it there yet. And I think it's going to be a pretty interesting one.
Wow. We got
You're setting
elevated
some hopes real
inflections
high.
for that one and everything.
Interesting.
Pretty interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, it's gonna-
Rhino
it's
my
does Tiny
best
Tim better
Tiny
than
Tim.
you do.
Yeah,
He wins.
I'm really working on the falsetto, but it's not happening for me. But yeah, that's going to be coming up in just a short bit. But before, of course, we get to our review, we have to go over a little something called housekeeping. So does
Housekeeping?
anyone have housekeeping today?
No, bro.
No.
No? Well, I
Surprise,
actually,
surprise. I never do.
I know, you guys don't, and I'm glad.
I do.
I don't care what you have. I just don't care. Not in the mood for you. Don't think I'm ever in the mood for you. But, okay, so, fantastic. So, I want to go over something very important, and that is Beetlejuice's final day of operation on December 2nd. So,
Sweet dreams are made of these, huh?
Oh, no. Don't go there.
I
I
know.
didn't sing it high enough.
It's Beetlejuice. It's ending. It's ending. We've known this, that it was coming, and it is ending. And the very last day for it, of course, is Wednesday, December 2nd. But finally, Universal is starting to, I think, get a better sense of how their fans of the parks are visiting these attractions on their final days, because obviously they've had a great recent amount of closures.
The amount of Bill Paxton that showed for Twister was insane. Because I was there for Halloween Horror Nights and I walked past and I was like, everybody's in jeans and a blue shirt. And then I was like, oh.
Oh, and the light bulb went
Yeah,
on.
it was a little, I don't know, it was very
Did you
unsettling.
see any Helen Hunts?
No.
No, there were Helen Hunts.
Well, I didn't notice
White tank and
particularly.
khaki shorts.
Yeah. Basically normal dressed.
I got caught in a Paxton. I
Oh.
couldn't find any hunts.
Nor were you looking.
Nah, bro. That's twice I've said that today. Rat boy today.
So, for Beetlejuice, obviously, they're taking a different approach from it than what they did for Disaster and Twister and the rest. And they're actually making the final show for an annual pass holder not for an annual pass holder exclusive event. It is exclusive to annual pass holders for that very final show on Wednesday, December 2nd at 5:15.
Nice.
Interesting. That's kind of cool.
That's a nice
It is.
touch, I think.
Yeah.
No, I think they recognize that a lot of the people who are coming to these last events are either team members or really passionate annual pass holders.
Yeah.
So this is a smart event to make sure that there's none of that worry about will I be in the last one. If you're an annual pass holder on Wednesday, December 2nd, you go to a ticket pickup location at 9 a.m. The location is in the Studio Audience Center in Universal Studios, Florida. So that's the NBC building in the Gardens of Allah that's right next to Cafe La Bamba that is never open. So I don't know why they use that to describe is where it is.
I didn't even know there was a place called that.
Exactly.
I thought it was a facade.
Nope. It's actually a restaurant in there that just sits vacant during some media events whenever they need like overflow to like people to use the bathrooms.
That's the only
they
reason
go
why I've
over
been
there.
in there.
Yeah, that's the only reason I've been in.
Use the bathroom.
But yeah, so the tickets are first come, first serve. They're giving out 1,100 annual pass holder tickets, one ticket per pass holder. So unfortunately, if your friend is just visiting for the day and you're the annual pass holder, they're not. Unfortunately, they won't be able to get in. This is exclusively for annual pass holders only, which
Can
is...
you
Maybe we
can you
should
hand
go.
off your pass holder ticket to somebody else?
I don't think so. That's
I
in...
think it's going to be a scan thing.
Yeah, that's in a lot of the... typically a lot of the fine details about not giving your annual pass to anyone else or that such things. But obviously, if you're going to be there and you want to see the show on the last day, there are 4 other show times at 11:15 a.m., 12:45 p.m., 2 o'clock p.m., 4 o'clock p.m., and then one strange one at 4 o'clock a.m.
Wow.
Yeah.
No one's going to question that.
No?
You're just believing me.
Oh, I don't know. Are you?
I thought maybe it's a misprint on the side. I don't
No,
know. We
it's
don't have
not.
it open.
I said 4, and then I listed off 5 right away, so...
All right. He's pulling his
Just-
leg, and we are supposed to
I don't-
laugh or something.
I don't know
right
if you
now.
said what you think you said.
I don't know if you heard what you think you heard.
I don't.
Oh dear.
But either way, yes, if you are an annual pass holder, come on out to see the last show of Beetlejuice, Wednesday, December 2nd.
We gonna go, guys?
I probably will not because
great.
I don't want to run to Universal before the trip and then have to run back to Universal right after the trip in
Thank
order
you.
to see Beetlejuice. I'm fine with the last time we saw it.
What if they do something special?
What if they do something special? Then Rhino, please, since you don't have
I'm
any
busy that
involvement
day.
in the
I'm
trip,
busy.
Doesn't matter.
Busy.
You already volunteered.
I'm
No,
busy.
you're going.
I do hope to get my kids out to it at some point before it closes, but that would be more for the purpose of a blog post than anything else. I don't really think I wasn't impressed the first time. It's not much motivation to go back.
No, absolutely not. But I think it's a cool little thing. So another way to appreciate their annual pass holders.
That's what I like about it. I like the nod to the annual pass holders. I think that is that's cool of Universal to do that. I wish Disney would do more stuff like that.
I know. Bully to Universal.
Bully.
Bully. Okay.
Cool.
Since I'm the only one who had housekeeping,
Yeah.
Then we can
I
move
guess
on.
that means we can move on to the big show. We're going to move on to our review of Vivo Italian Kitchen. So, Vivo Italian Kitchen, as I said, opened up last year as part of CityWalk's giant rebranding that they went through, getting rid of some clubs and older restaurants and trying to freshen things up. And
Except this was an Italian restaurant before as well,
yes,
wasn't
this
it?
was also this was Pasta More before it was Vivo Italian Kitchen, so it kind of worked out that it just transitioned. And you know, I don't remember a lot of Pasta More just because I never ate there.
I ate there once. It was one of the ones when they still do this deal, the dine where you can go to the movies and get the
Yeah.
dinner for 2, and it was the best option of the worst. I remember that list was just terrible because it was like the NBA place, it was the NASCAR place, and I was like, "Jeez, I guess we're going to this Italian place." So,
Yeah, no, and Pasta More, from what I remember, it was half quick service, and then it was also a sit-down restaurant as well. So you had those two options, and in a way, it kind of transitioned over because now you have basically on that first floor location, right in that area, although in between the two is the Cowfish entrance, but you have some quick service Italian in the form of red oven pizza, and then Cowfish entrance, and then right next to it, that's where you'll find Vivo, and that's all on that main floor that you'll have to go by if you are walking into either of the theme parks coming from the parking garages. Vivo really takes a lot of its, I want to say, its attitude from like old classic Italian cooking, but with a more contemporary flair at the same time. To me, the restaurant is very sleek. I don't know if I would put the words elegant in terms of it describing the interior.
No,
because
I wouldn't say elegant, but maybe sophisticated.
Oh, sophisticated. That's a perfect word. It is a very sophisticated restaurant, but it still has a lot of touches that make it feel like an old classic Italian restaurant. Like, for instance, some of the lights in there, they have like the Edison tube light bulbs, and they have whisks as
The
light
light
bulbs.
fixtures.
And so it's, I think that also kind of gets blended in with it in the menu. In terms of what style of food is with the style of the restaurant. But before we get much further, Rhino put together a nice little teaser of everything that we saw there last night. So Rhino, I'm going to go ahead and ask you to roll this. And for everyone who isn't watching this on YouTube and just listening, this will be available on youtube.com/WDW info.
I'm just going to give you guys a heads up, too, because I should have said this before the show, but since it's only a tiny video, please don't talk during it, because I don't want to mute you.
Fantastic.
All right, here we go.
Well, so much for
wow.
being quiet during the
What are
show.
you what are you talking about? Those, Rhino, where the heck did you find some of those sound effects that you put in there?
I'm good.
It was very good. I mean, it's almost like they were made here live as we were going around along with
Almost.
it.
Impossible.
Impossible?
Impossible.
Okay, I don't know if that's Italian or not, but
I
it
don't
doesn't
know.
matter. We're just gonna rule right along with it.
I'm going to say it confidently enough.
Yeah, as you could see from that video, and on the insides of Vivo is very sophisticated, almost bizarre at some points in time. So obviously there's normal tables like you would experience at any restaurant, but then there's these giant caged-in tables.
Yeah,
I like
those are
those
interesting.
booths. That's cool. When I took my kids there once, in the evening that we ate there, we got sat in one of the cage booths, and it was just a really cool place to sit. Little thing, but it's fun. makes you feel like you've got this sectioned off celebrity table or something.
Yeah, it does, but it also feels like you're...
That's where the dancers come out after dark.
You're 3/4 of the way from being forced into a type of adult entertainment that I don't think everyone wants or deserves to have to be put through.
It's even got that...
I was good with it.
I don't know if it's subliminal messaging, but the white with the black lines on the back, it's very like tiger. It's got some energy going on over here that said dancers to me.
No, it does. And
Pasta dancers.
Pasta dancers. And, that is interesting. But the entire restaurant's interesting. Some of the... one thing that pointed out really stuck in my mind in your video is a lot of the words that are just randomly written on the wall. Like, you cropped it off so it looked like charcuter, but it was supposed to be charcuterie.
No, did I? I'm sorry.
Yeah. You're bad.
You can see it a little. You can see the end of it in this one. Cooter.
No. But either way.
Yes, he does. He just
from
said,
Captain EO, of course.
Yeah.
That's Hooter.
Oops.
That's Cooter's
Not
cousin.
Cooter. That's something different.
So the restaurant is, I think it has one of the best bars too. After we left,
Here's a bar.
After we left the restaurant last night, Kylie ended up texting me and saying she wanted me to bring her dinner. So I went back and I just hung out at the bar and had a nice. It was a barrel-aged Manhattan.
You are still blushing. Your face is turning as red as the color of your hair.
It was fantastic. The
drink was.
I'm not here to review this drink, but it was of course it was a barrel-aged Manhattan made with delicious bourbon.
How much was that?
How much was it? It was $12, but it was
that's not
worth.
bad for Manhattan.
Yeah, it was.
At a theme park, yeah.
It was great. I enjoyed it, but yeah, it's a very relaxing bar, and one of the craziest bar scenes I've ever seen there, because it started to happen while we were sitting there eating. There was like maybe at the corner of the bar there would be like 3 people, and then the bar is also surrounded by other tables, kind of like straight tables where you could just like sit a drink at and all that, and. Before you knew it, there was this like circle of like 10 people in this very, very tight, confined space, all just hanging out at the bar.
You can see it in this one.
It got far worse as the night went on. So you all left, and then by the end of it, I would say there was maybe 30 or 40 people surrounding the bar. All in that area,
yeah,
in
I
small
think so.
groups.
Well, if you think about it, what time are they closing the restaurants in the parks now? It's super early, and I think it gives this push to CityWalk because people need to eat.
Parks might have been closing
and
at 7
you just don't
too.
find much in the. They don't seem to keep very much open in the parks in the evening.
No, they don't.
Eating wise.
We could see you chewing your gum too, by the way, just so you know.
Oh, well, no, I know.
Okay.
Well, only the people watching video.
Okay.
Everyone listening, it doesn't bother
No, they
them.
can hear it too. Don't worry.
Cool. So either way, very popular bar. Lots of different cocktails. Obviously, wine selection is on par. Even got some beers. They have their Peronis. So lots to enjoy in terms of that. The restaurant is actually quite large in terms of how far it extends. The main dining room area, when you walk in, it's impressive to begin with, and then it also wraps all the way around the back into a separate section that even has a separate little just mini serving station with its own separate beer tap system and some more wine. And
before you even get that far back, there's that little like side section too that it's so if you're watching and you look at this photo, it's back and on the right, so it's back here, which is it's just cool. So the size of this restaurant had, like what you were saying, that's distinctly different sections. So that's 1, 2, like 3 or 4 distinctly different places in this tiny place, and you're not even back in a Cooterville yet. So
yeah.
So it's
regardless,
Chartreuseville, whatever you called it.
Yes.
Charcuterie.
Charcuterie. And then you've got some outside seating on the patio, and so overall, I have been there where they've had to turn people away because of how many people. It holds a lot, but I've seen this place fill up, so that's also a testament to how good it actually is. So I think enough with actually talking about it, and let's actually dive into it.
You didn't talk about the open kitchen.
I was going to kind of incorporate that in terms of the food because...
When you get to the pasta stuff?
Well, yeah, specifically because of the pasta. I mean, obviously, it's an Italian restaurant. You're going to want a lot of pasta. My instant mind, whenever I'm thinking of pasta, is go get your box of pasta and drop it in a pot of boiling water. And I know this is, only how the lazy people like myself out there do it. And there are a great amount of people out there that actually take the time to roll their own pasta and cut it.
I'd like to meet those people and be friends with them.
Yeah, no, if those people want to be friends with me, I'm more than happy to be friends with you.
And have them invite you over for dinner.
Yes, just once or twice a week. Not much.
Yeah, not too much.
I don't need a carb-heavy diet. I've got enough energy as it is. But I do enjoy fresh pasta every now and then. And one of the big things about this place is, not all of their pasta is fresh made right on site. But there is a vast amount of pasta that they do have that is fresh made on site. And because there is this beautiful open kitchen, you can even see it hanging there.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
Oh, it's very cool. And I still haven't done it yet, which I need to do sometime. But then they also have almost like it's not a chef's table per se, but it is that counter
you can
table
eat around
right
it, right?
beside the kitchen. Yeah, that you can eat at if you enjoy that type of dining where you can actually watch the restaurant in action. And I love eating at places like that. I think that's...
Well, what's cool, too, is like they had there's the chefs that are working on like I don't know if you want to say fry station, but the hot... I don't know, the pasta dishes and stuff, but then there was these two that were off to the side, and they were tossing dough and pounding out the dough and putting it in this, like, oven right in front of you. It was really cool to watch it all happen right there, and it looks pristine in there. That kitchen looks brand new, so it looks very cleanly and clean, and not one of those places where you go and you're like, oh, I don't want to see where they make the food.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So do we want to talk about the food itself now?
At
Since
some
we
point
already
we
got
should.
Why did I just do that? I just had like a weird thing happen there. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. Let's talk about the food. So, like any great restaurant review, we decided to really stuff our faces full. I guess there's no really beating around the bush on this one. This was a meal fit for gluttony.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, were we gluttonous.
What did we start off with, Craig?
Well, we started off with appetizers.
No.
Sorry, we started off with bread.
Boom, bread.
Their bread was heavenly.
Yeah, I would.
I mean, it's
this is
bread.
really good.
Yeah.
Well, no.
Very
Crisp.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, crisp on the outside,
That's what I was
warm
gonna
in the middle, light and fluffy. That's where you were going. I felt that.
light, fluffy, soft.
Good
It
bread.
was-
Yeah.
It was airy, but there was still enough density to it that you could really enjoy it. The texture was awesome.
Yeah, I didn't get to finish my statement on it, but that's fine because I'm happy with it. We showed up for our dining review at 5 o'clock, right whenever the restaurant opened up. Right now, its operating hours are 5 to 11. Keep in mind, though, that could change at any point in time. The last time I went to eat there, it was 3 to 11, so it's just constantly shifting. Eventually, they might bring back lunch. Who knows? CityWalk's a strange land of bizarreness. But yes, the bread, because we were there right at 5 o'clock when it opened, we actually couldn't get the bread right away whenever we were seated because they hadn't even brought it over from where they cook the bread at a bigger facility. They don't cook the bread right on site at the restaurant. Not enough room for also bread making there too, I guess. But once they brought it over, I mean, this thing was hot and piping. It was cooked perfectly on the inside. Almost, I wish it would have been a little doughy because sometimes I enjoy that for my bread. But very crispy on the outside. You
mean you wish the outside was doughy?
No, I wish the inside was doughy. I'm weird.
I think it was I like doughy bread as well, but I mean it wasn't.
I feel like
It
maybe
was kind of close.
It was close.
Yeah, I was going to say it was borderline there.
I feel like if it would have been cooked for a minute less, it would have achieved perfect doughiness on the inside.
Okay.
And overall, it was great. I had too much bread.
That's the danger when you go to an Italian place where you're
Yeah.
about to eat, all these kind of carb-heavy things, and you start with bread, but you're starving when you get there because the restaurant always smells good, and
Oh, yeah.
you're like, eaten away. But
On the table, they have olive oil that you can eat it with, as well as salt and pepper. For people out there who like to put Parmesan cheese and red pepper flakes on it.
I didn't have any red. There were not any red pepper flakes.
I'm saying they weren't on there.
Yeah, that was my disappointment.
I'm sure you could have asked for red pepper flakes.
No, I put them in the video. They had jars of them in the back. Yes. I'm sure they allowed you to eat them.
No, the chef would have came out and slapped you and said, "How dare you? Let's duel.
No flakes for you.
No flakes for you." In terms of our primi on the menu, we started the appetizers. We started with the meatballs. Well, technically on the menu, it's meatball, and it costs $10, and it is house-made meatballs and marinara sauce. There's 3 of them. There's a thinly shaved Parmesan right on top with a little bit of green stuff to keep you healthy, wealthy, and wise.
I think it's actually more there for seasoning.
I disagree with that.
Okay.
It's for health.
Money.
Everyone needs a little green.
Right.
About money, too. I'm going to let JL start because I think she has the strongest feeling on these balls.
You got the strongest feeling on the meatballs, JL. Tell us about them.
Today's conversation's so interesting.
I can't. I'm sorry. Start giggling again.
But it's true. You do have the strongest convictions on these balls.
Wow. Yes, I do. I enjoyed them very much. And in fact, I could have had a whole meal of just these meatballs. I felt like they were... Okay,
sorry.
right.
No, I'm sorry. There's a really funny joke on Happy Endings about fried mac and cheese balls, and the dad's telling the story, and he just very offhandedly... I don't want to say it because it might be borderline inappropriate, but anyone who watches that, it's a really funny thing, so look it up. Go ahead.
Okay. Anyway, the meatballs were really great. The texture was good. They were seasoned really well. There was enough flavor and seasoning in it without it being overpowering. And the marinara sauce was a very good marinara sauce. It was mild, not too much. I don't know how else to explain it. It wasn't an overwhelming presence of marinara sauce. And again, like when we got these appetizers, I was a little bit regretful that I didn't just order them as an entree, because I would have eaten that and been,
Oh, no.
I would have gone on my merry way. Like, it would have been good.
I mean, to semi-quote SNL, there was no beating these balls. They were...
I feel like if you said that, I'm allowed to say what I was going to say.
Has the moment passed, or do you still want to throw it in there?
No, we're going to move on.
No, but I do want to talk about them, too.
I'm going to talk first because you had the downtrodden opinion on them.
I didn't know if you wanted to sandwich it.
I thought these were also great. I thought they were well seasoned. They did fall right apart in your mouth as soon as you put them in.
Yeah.
As soon as you, yeah.
Fantastic all around.
I'm really glad I was...
I still haven't had like spaghetti and meatballs at this restaurant yet, but I really should based off of how great these meatballs actually are.
Was that straight up on the spaghetti and meatballs? Was that straight up on the menu? I didn't see a dish that was like specifically spaghetti and meatballs.
Let me find what
I don't think they called it spaghetti and meatballs. They called it something else.
Yeah, they got classy about it.
And they do have, because I've had it there once.
Were there more you wanted to say, or do you want me to talk while you look for it?
You can talk now while I'm looking.
I don't think they were bad. I mean, you're right. I think the meat was cooked wonderfully. Like, it was really texture-wise perfectly cooked. Exactly. Mm-hmm. But I didn't get a lot of flavor in mine. They were just bland to me. Now, I'm going to say I don't eat a lot of red meat. So whenever I do have meatballs, they're usually turkey meat. Or like ground turkey or whatever. They're not ever red meat. So
the flavor that you were eating wasn't a meat flavor. The flavor that you got was more from the seasoning of the meat than the actual meat itself.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't know. It's not a thing. To me, this is a very boring appetizer. But I wouldn't say they were bad. They were just boring, bland, and I didn't like it. But at the same time, I do honestly think now that I'm getting older, my taste buds are starting to flatten out a little bit. So I need like spicier. Like, I like strong flavored stuff. Yeah. So that's that though. But I wouldn't say they were bad. I would never say they were bad. So if somebody was going to look for like meatballs, I would be like, this place has great.
It's a meatball.
That's a big meatball. That's a good meatball.
It was a good meatball. Also, on the menu, we tried the calamari. Calamari served with cherry peppers and marinara sauce.
Oh, shoot. I should have ate the pepper. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, I didn't eat the pepper either, but that's just because I was getting full. But this calamari, very unique in that if you've ever had calamari before, usually it comes in a basket or on a plate just completely soaked in grease and completely disgusting. This is quite the opposite, almost to the point that this more or less had an appearance of being baked. It was definitely fried, but it was fried so well that it wasn't overly greasy. I mean, there was that hint of grease to it, but very crispy on the outside. A good taste on it.
No chewy pieces. I didn't hit a single one. So
no. Not even a little bit. Just a slight hint of salt in it. Mm-hmm. And overall, if you like calamari, this is actually some of the best calamari that I've tried at restaurants. Granted, I don't go around ordering it every place I go.
Well, and I'm from, right next to the water in Massachusetts, so...
You had to think a while there about where you were from.
I was debating whether I say it or not, but, from, like, Carver, Massachusetts, so Plymouth is right next door, and, you can go right down there and get, like, the lobster and the calamari and stuff like that right out of the ocean, but, like, this is the best. We're in Central Florida. We're in like a tight little landlocked space here, so seafood's not always the best here. But this was maybe some of the best calamari I've had like ever. So my only complaint is that I hate that it has marinara sauce with it because I think that maybe was my issue with the meatball. I didn't like the marinara sauce.
It's a very mild marinara sauce. There's not a lot of seasoning.
I like a spicy marinara.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of seasoning in the marinara sauce.
Yeah. So it wasn't my preferred sauce with the calamari, but the calamari I normally always dip my calamari, but this calamari I don't even think I needed the sauce. It was that good. Like,
it didn't.
I
thought the marinara balanced it out rather well, but that was just my opinion. But it didn't need it on its own. The last appetizer that we did have was the prosciutto arugula pizza, which. Coming in at, sorry, I forgot to say before, the calamari was $10. This prosciutto arugula pizza clocked in at $14, topped with mozzarella, parmigiano reggiano. Screw it, I can't say it right. Why am I trying? Organic extra virgin olive oil, courtesy of Rachel Ray, lemon, and oregano. I think the consensus at our table, we were also there with Pete and then Steve, doing a big family dinner, and the consensus at the table was because of the saltiness from the cured prosciutto on top, is that it was a little bit too heavy on that end. Mm-hmm.
Just a little bit, because it's such a good. It would be something I might even try again, just because like I like the idea of it, and the crust itself was good, but it just, it had that
it was
tinge in your mouth.
It was definitely the prosciutto, because if you got bites without the prosciutto in it, it was perfect. The dough is perfect.
Oh, yeah,
the
absolutely.
Cheese
the bread in this
amazing.
restaurant's fantastic.
The greenery on it was good. It was just that very, very salty meat. End of story.
Yeah,
but that's how it's supposed to be made, from what I understand.
Exactly.
Prosciutto is extremely salty.
Better the salty meat than the salty.
Yeah, it's like someone complaining that the prosciutto is too salty would be like complaining that bacon is too salty, and that's just how it is. I'm trying to truck right through it. I feel like
he's whispering bad things to me.
I feel like that's all of our jobs. Whenever one of us tries to derail this, the other people just got to keep going with it. Overall, I thought this was my favorite of the three appetizers that we had because I love prosciutto. This was so salty and excellent, and it didn't say anything about garlic in the ingredients, but I was getting some strong garlic vibes all throughout it too that were just was also intensifying that flavor. But
the lemon is a surprising inclusion in that when you read that description, I'm like, oh, that must have been that citrusy, which I love. Again, I love. It's exactly what JL said. It was very fresh, very green, and like light. Again, another thing, the calamari was very light. This pizza felt very light, as salty as with the olive oil and everything, but it still felt light.
It did feel light, but at the same time too, at $14, I would say of the 3 appetizers we got, this is the only thing that if you have a family of 4 or more, that is actually in line of sharing if you're only planning on getting 1 appetizer. The calamari was a very small serving, one that could have been eaten on its own. You shouldn't eat all that on your own, but it could have been eaten on its own. And the meatballs, again, you might be able to split that between 2 people. Like, I know JL could have used a single ball for herself. I could have used a single ball for myself.
I just went with a halfie.
You went with a half a ball. That's fine. But overall, I felt the pizza for that little extra pizza. That pizza for a little extra. Why am I channeling Forrest Gump now? That pizza for $14 more.
Jenny loves her pizza.
Jenny loves
Jenny.
pizza.
Please, God, make me a pizza so I can eat far, far away.
I think I need a box of chocolates to get through this episode.
We all got zingers in that one.
Side note,
Good work,
I was
gang.
so excited. I did not realize that all the park bench scenes with Forrest waiting on the bus stop bench were filmed in Savannah. So when we stumbled upon the actual square, we were all so excited.
Did
I
somebody
did not
tell
see
you,
that.
or were you just like in the square and were like, what's happening here? Why do I know this place?
We were told. We were told.
That's still really cool.
But it was like one of those things where you're just walking and then he's like, oh, and then there's that. So
Kylie, fetch me a box of chocolates immediately. We have a photo op.
I just had to squat. There was still a bench there. Did not work out well. Ripped my pants. Wasn't a good night. Let's move on to our entrees. So, in terms of entrees on the menu, you have 2 different varieties to go from. You have pasta, or you have your more entree-based dishes that are some with a little bit of pasta still included in it, but your chickens, your fish, your beef, your veal, all that goodness. We were split down the middle. We ordered 6 entrees overall, and 3 of them were pasta-style entrees. The other 3 were the more of the, as the menu refers to them as seconde.
I thought that when I saw that, I was like, these desserts are weird.
Yes, seconde. So I will start with mine.
Go.
We're going to go with it. I enjoyed the lamb ragu.
I do have a little bit of a issue here because I can't tell the difference. I'm going to put up the picture. I think this is the lamb ragu.
That is the lamb ragu.
Okay.
And of course, like I didn't mention
Pound
it
of
on the
meat.
top of the show, but all of the photos of the food and the interiors of the restaurant and that will be in the show notes page at disunplug.com. The lamb ragu was spaghetti, their version of hollow spaghetti, which I know JL and I were both getting a kick out of.
Yeah, that was weird.
It was like eating a
was
straw.
straw.
It was eating a pasta
I
straw.
thought it looked really thick when you got it on the plate. I was like, man, that pasta is really thick pasta.
Yeah, and because it was, hollow like a straw, like we just said. The thing
Yeah.
that was so weird about it is I often, I don't know if y'all
you
think
couldn't
this
do
is
it?
group, but I often try to slurp in my spaghetti with a, but because it was hollow in the,
That's Hannibal Lecter trying to eat somebody.
okay, but because it was hollow in the middle, that became much more difficult and labored, and that's when I realized, this isn't working because the pasta is hollow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
No, it was definitely a not a suck up, but a shove in.
Lady
shove
and
and
the
go.
Tramp would have never been able to do it with that type of pasta.
Oh,
It was a shove and go.
Shove it in
The
the
lamb ragu, though, was slow cooked lamb, served as like ground lamb with marinara sauce and then just their version of spaghetti. Overall, for $16 for this one, in terms of the pasta, it ranges from $13 to $17. This one came in at $16. I thought for the amount of money it cost, that the portion size was excellent, to the point that I only finished half of my meal and had to take the other half home.
I mean, there's a lot of lamb in that. Oh, this photo doesn't even do it justice. I was like, oh, that's a bowl of meat they just brought you.
I would say it was about a pound overall, and it was probably half a pound of lamb and half a pound of pasta. This was a heavy dish, but at the same time, because of that hollow pasta and the ground lamb, it all kind of together, it was very light at the same time. The swath the swass again.
The swass was so
The
good.
swass was not sweet, but not spicy. It was just right down the middle of the line. I do enjoy their marinara sauce there, and overall, I love lamb.
How was the reheatability on this?
Excellent.
Yeah.
I love reheated pasta. Any reheated pasta is good in my book. That's just me, though. So yeah, overall, I would absolutely 100% get mine again. Just all the flavors in this, it was just bursting. And it was. I'm a big fan of just getting spaghetti with meat sauce. So to have that little extra variety because it's lamb instead of your normal ground beef or ground sausage or anything like that. It just ground pork, not ground sausage. It just added that little extra kick to it. I really appreciated it. I liked it a lot. So, JL, what'd you have?
I had the chicken marsala.
Oh, bouncing into the entrees.
That came with sautéed mushrooms and a marsala wine sauce, and the pasta was capellini.
Capellini.
I really enjoyed this meal. The reason being, we had already had things before, as we mentioned, the appetizers and the bread. And so I didn't want to order something really heavy, and yet it's hard to not eat something heavy when you're eating pasta. But this really kind of hit the spot. The capellini was just very light and very thin. And
I don't know what that is.
I'm sorry?
What is that thing that you just said?
Capellini?
Yeah, what is it?
That's the pasta that comes with it.
Oh, okay. It's the type of pasta.
You can see the noodles if you flash back to the picture. They're a very thin, slim noodle. They're not the major things like we were talking about before.
It's very close to angel hair.
Yeah, it reminded me of
it looked like angel hair.
Yeah, it reminded me of angel hair pasta. And the chicken was cooked well. It wasn't too dry. I think one of the things that I liked most about it, though, was the red wine sauce. It kind of like this combination of an au jus sauce, but still not being, thin and liquidy. It still had a sauce quality to it. And again, it wasn't real heavy. Now, I really like mushrooms, so this was a plus for me. But in case you don't like mushrooms, you should be aware there was the mushroom flavor. It was very present. So,
That's that weird sound effect.
I know.
Again.
It was good. That was a plus in my book. But for somebody who doesn't really like mushrooms, and
I'm not a big mushroom guy, and this
is not
was one that I was like,
yeah, this is not something you would want to eat then, because that mushroom flavor was very strong. Mm-hmm. It was very present, but it really hit the spot, and it was not too heavy. I did, I had to work diligently to get through my meal, but that's because I'd already had so much before this even started. Had I not, with the portion size and the I don't want to say it was a light meal because it wasn't too light. It was satisfying. I guess I know I would have gotten to the end of this meal and felt satisfied without feeling overwhelmed and heavy.
That's a good way to put it.
That is a good way of putting it. Rhino.
Okay.
I'm going to skip you right now.
Oh, no.
Just because your meal was too similar to JL's in a way, so I feel like I need to balance it out. Let's jump back into the pasta dish. And I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying about it. I know Kylie's had it before, but Steve ordered the fettuccine carbonara, which was served in a Parmesan cream sauce. Pancetta was in there, grilled chicken breast, and peas, which all of those together look and sound heavenly.
Yeah, this looks like the tuna casserole.
Kylie's had this before whenever we've gone there, and I absolutely loved it whenever I got to try her bites. We don't share food. No one should ever share food.
Joey doesn't share food.
I didn't take a bite of the one that was served tonight, but Steve did share some of his feelings on it, which I think I did not write down. Apparently, I did not write it down. But from what I remember, he did say that the sauce was way heavier than he was expecting it to be. He thought it was going to be a lot lighter of a cream sauce.
He ended up taking a lot of his meal home.
Yeah,
exactly.
He didn't eat too much at the restaurant of that.
And then again, and he also said that the pancetta and it added to the saltiness factor, and it might have been close to being a little too salty. But one thing he appreciated was that the chicken breast in it wasn't just kind of like sat on top, but instead it was evenly distributed when it was already coming to the table, and that was kind of nice. So, because I do appreciate whenever restaurants do that. I don't like whenever I just get a piece of meat dropped on top of pasta or rice or something else.
I hate mixing it.
And then it's like, oh, I got to mix it myself, and I can never get it perfectly.
And then you spill it over the table.
Yeah, I mean, when they do it ahead of time, I just feel like it's already well done. But then I will move on to Pete's. He had the herb roasted chicken, which was an oven roasted half chicken with baby potatoes, grilled asparagus, onion, and natural jus.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we got the jus in there.
No, you didn't.
Pete said that it was excellent, that the chicken was juicy. Overall, it was well prepared and seasoned, and the seasoning wasn't overdone like he was finding with some of the other things that were served there. The potatoes made the dish seem a lot larger, and those onions and the asparagus definitely added to the portion size overall, but generally Pete felt that it was a human-sized portion. It wasn't anything that was going to be over daunting. I feel like the same way with your dish and probably with Rhino's coming up.
Yeah.
But no, at $18, I would say that it definitely wouldn't be a bad choice. My problem is I have to be very picky with what chicken I choose whenever I eat out, because chicken's one of those things that I feel like I can make it well at home, so why should I give restaurants a chance to try to impress me? I know, that's a very weird statement, but that's how things work in my head.
In Craig's world.
We're going to shoot that back to Rhino, who had the...
Piccata.
You got a piccata.
With
$16.
With chicken. Yeah, here's a beautiful photo of it. Looks real good. Yeah, it was good. Do you have the description? I don't remember. I didn't.
Oh, the description of the actual menu item. It's chicken, white wine, lemon capers, and capellini.
Yeah. So I thought it was really good. It definitely, as you can see, it has that lemon right on the side with it too. It definitely. If you're like, oh, I can handle a hint of lemon, this is not the dish for you. It was very lemony, which is fine with me because I love lemon, any flavor of lemon, whatever. So I made the right choice. I'm not a big red sauce person, really at all. So I'm really happy that they had options like this that weren't just like pasta with red sauce. Let me see, the pasta though that came with it. I want to say. Did you say the name of it?
It was the capellini.
I don't know. Okay,
Let's say it for the sixth
so it was
time.
No.
All
I
right,
was just guessing what that was. I thought it was a meat.
Oh no, so you had the same type of pasta I had.
Yeah, it was what it was. It wasn't anything special. It wasn't like there was no extra sauce on it. You're supposed to be using the sauce from that, which is fine. It was. It definitely had a little bit, like maybe a little salty, because I don't use salt really ever, and I definitely kind of felt it a little bit in this, but. It was 3 nice cuts of chicken, and the chicken was like perfectly cooked. It was probably some of the best pieces of chicken I've had in a restaurant. And I ate my whole plate, but that doesn't say very much because I do that no matter where I go. I have some weird childhood issue that I just can't let go. And and I'm always like, there's starving kids in the world, and I got to eat the last hot dog. But it was good. I'm happy with what I ordered. I don't know if I loved it enough that I'd be like, I've got to go back and eat that one dish again. But, yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was light. I felt very light after I was eating it. It wasn't heavy at all. So good. Another light dish.
Yeah, no, it looked really excellent. I had a piece of your chicken and it was savory. I could see myself ordering this one in the future. Mm-hmm. The last dish that we had, which was a table dish, something Pete was very excited about because it was a dish he had multiple times whenever he was in Italy, and excuse me because I am going to screw up the pronunciation on this one, so I'm going to pull a pronunciation.
Okay, hold on.
Pronunciation.
I'm going to screw up the pronunciation of it.
Yeah.
He's gonna
That's what's called that's Inception
That's
right there.
classic.
It was like a Schoolhouse Rock, like pronounce, and you said the noun part of it. And, ooh, like balloon letters flew at us.
So the last dish that we had that was kind of for the entire table was the Ametriani. Ametriani,
Yeah,
I believe.
I feel like that's how he said it.
Metriana or something along that line. Basically, it was that same
Big thick pasta.
thick style pasta spaghetti that I had with my lamb ragu that was served with pancetta, pecorino, tomato sauce, and bucatini. Overall, the way Pete was describing this dish, and also kind of described by the server, is that it was going to be, not
little
too
spicy.
heavy,
He
not
talked
too
about-
light, and not really big on the sweetness, but definitely had that kick of spiciness to it.
Yeah, he mentioned chili.
Yeah, red
Red chili
pepper
pepper,
flakes, and
Really?
that should be in it. And then on top of having the pancetta in there too, it should have added a little extra zing to it. Overall, obviously, it didn't live up to Pete's expectations of what he had in Italy, but I don't know if anything on this menu would really meet expectations of what you have in a foreign country. I know that now from German food. Coming back here and having to deal with the stuff that I deal with, it's just not as good as it was over there. But overall, I thought this was actually a really good dish.
I did too, because it didn't have that spicy kick to it. I think if it had had the spicy kick to it, I wouldn't have liked it as much. But as it was, I enjoyed it.
I would have appreciated the spicy kick at the end. I really would have hoped for it. I didn't get it, but at the same time too, it was an excellent dish.
Yeah,
I just wouldn't recommend it to anyone who is expecting that spiciness to it.
In fact, if I ever go back, I will probably order that dish. Because
I didn't.
I enjoyed it.
I didn't even try it because when you said it wasn't spicy, I was like, it's not worth it for me. Because again, I don't like straight up pasta and red sauce. It's just not my thing.
That's fine.
All right, Debbie Downer.
$15. I didn't think the portion size was bad at all either, and overall, it was a really good meal with a good portion, and it is something that I would order again, especially knowing that it was just added to the menu along with the ragu and a couple other things
He
just
said
recently.
just a month ago is what he said.
So I don't know how long they'll stick around. They might just be more seasonal items right now. But I like that their menu is changing and evolving, and they're not just keeping it flat.
Did you guys have lasagna when you went the first time?
No, we didn't. But when I went with my kids ordered that. It's a very heavy lasagna.
Is it? Because that was my almost. That was my backup.
It is a lot of cheese and a lot of meat. It's definitely a heavy dish.
You would get that, Garfield. Got a case of the Mondays.
I had a case of the Mondays.
Was it Wednesday?
Yeah, okay.
If we would have went there on Monday like we were originally supposed to, I would have said get the
lasagna.
Get it for Garfield's sake. So, overall, our entrees, I think we picked all good winners as far as it goes.
Yeah.
And just overall with their menu, starting at $13 for the cheapest items, going up to $27 for the most expensive. I don't think the prices are overly ridiculous. I remember when we did our dining plan show and we chose to eat at Vivo, that was one of the big issues, that we couldn't get our money's worth out of it because everything was such a good value at this restaurant. And between the food that they serve there, the taste, the portion size, and the prices, you can't even beat that. And we didn't even get to dessert.
I know. Yeah.
Well, wait, before we do get to dessert, I think we should bring up, granted, I didn't look over every single item on that menu. Maybe I should have, but I don't remember any. Are there vegetarian options? What I'm thinking about for like special people with special dietary needs. I don't know if there's anything specifically on the menu that's designated as vegetarian. I know there's not anything on there that is designated as vegan. However, the first time that Craig and I ate there, almost a year ago, I spoke with my server about, wanting a vegan meal, and without any problem, they accommodated that. And out of the 3 times that I've eaten at this restaurant, that was actually the best meal that I've ever had there. And Craig was even, he had wished that he had gotten what I had gotten that vegan meal that time, because it was so good. But anyway, I just thought I should mention that. I don't remember there being anything specifically designated on the menu, but
so you're
they
saying you should ask when you go.
They are able to accommodate that, and they do it with a smile on their face the entire time. There's no feeling of awkwardness or uncomfortableness. You're not made to feel like you're inconveniencing anyone.
We should say that in general too, because we had a really good server. He was very attentive.
Tej.
Yeah, TJ Miller was our server, and I don't know. I thought it was very nice, and we were pretty much the first people in the restaurant. But then by dessert, the restaurant was pretty full. So he still had a bunch of tables, but he was still coming back, checking on us, making sure everything wasn't. But it didn't feel rushed. He had like a conversation with us and everything like that, and he was very informed on the food. So hopefully that the rest of the staff's like that too.
Yeah. So overall, in terms of just flat out, yeah, you're right. Nothing sticks out on the menu. Like, they don't have anything.
They
that
don't
says
have anything
this is
specifically
vegetarian.
designated.
But
for
like,
you.
I'm guessing just based on my looking through here real quick and knowing ingredients, like they have this puttanesca, which has olives, capers, tomato sauce, oregano, and then the type of pasta is peccari tubes. So that's something, unless the tomato sauce is, originally made with meat, and then they,
What about the
get it
gnocchi?
down.
What kind of...
The gnocchi, that's also another one, unless fennel cream sauce is made with some type of meat that I am unaware with.
Unaware of?
Unaware of.
I had
yes.
a pet fennel as a kid, so who knows?
Yeah, so I'm not I'm not quite sure, but at the same time, if you know your ingredients, then, but either way, yeah, you'll get what you want. Let's wrap this up with a little dessert. And we got to start with the worst of the desserts, which was quite shocking. But the cannoli, cannolis are your number one basic
Italian dessert.
go-to Italian dessert besides tiramisu. And this one was extremely disappointing, and it was kind of scary. So this was the regular portion of the cannoli, which was just 2 small cannolis on a plate with the cream inside, and then little pistachios and powdered sugar on top. But Universal seems to be going into this shared dessert type of fad that we saw with our NBC Sports Grill and Brew banana cake.
42-person banana cake.
Yeah, they have something similar at Vivo, which is a big cannoli that is
14 feet long.
14 inches
14 feet. They have the world's largest cannoli.
Yeah, you just
It's like,
14
it's like a
inches,
trough
14
of cream.
feet. It's
14
all the same
inches.
thing. If you've
Wow.
2 pounds of cream inside, so massive, and it's like $14 for this thing too, so it's not cheap. But overall, just having the small cannolis, which were the exact same, it was disappointing.
Don't do it.
They weren't filled completely with cream right away. It was this kind of like, there was just lots of sections with open air, and they just weren't good.
No,
they weren't
and
good.
it's sad because if you look at this photo right here, you're like, oh, the pistachio, it's going to have a really strong pistachio flavor. And I bit into it, and I was like, it doesn't taste like anything. The textures were fine, but it was bland.
Yeah. But
we had some other winners.
I think the next one in terms of winners, my favorite, which was the one that I specifically picked out, it was the ricotta cheesecake, which was served with a little bit of candy on top there, and then candied fruits and fresh fruits, blackberries,
That fruit was
raspberries,
delicious.
and blueberries. If you like ricotta cheesecake, which obviously it doesn't just taste like ricotta cheese out of the box, and it doesn't taste like just normal cheesecake. It is this.
It's like a texture thing.
Yeah, it's a texture thing. It tastes more like regular cheesecake with a slight hint of ricotta and definitely a big ricotta texture. But when mixed with these fresh berries and a little bit of the candied side to it too, this thing, I could have scarfed it down in probably 30 seconds or less.
And again, this also felt like a very light piece of cheesecake. Like, you go to the Cheesecake Factory, it's very dense, very whatever. This was, everybody, I was like, I don't feel bad about eating this cheesecake.
Yeah.
So.
Did it
Complete
feel like
opposite.
it was like whipped
Yeah, no. When he said the ricotta texture, that's what it felt like. A little crumbly,
Okay.
like that kind of. It wasn't. It didn't feel like that condensed feeling to it. So
Yes.
very light, very
So-
nice in your mouth.
And the last dessert that we had, which I think was the winner for some and the winner for not one, but the warm bread pudding, which was apparently a fork was in the way whenever an A-bomb went off. And only the shadow
Whenever
of
the
the fork
powdered
was left
sugar
behind.
bomb. Yeah.
I couldn't tell if he took that off because they were like, oh, we're gonna give them spoons because there's so many and they're gonna share, or if that's like the aesthetic or not. But I loved this dessert. The first bite I had, okay, it was really well made. It came in that little thing. It was nice and hot. Or it looked like it was gonna be really really hot, and it wasn't really when I ate it. But it tasted like Christmas. It had an orange flavor to it, which is something I don't think I've really ever tasted with like bread pudding before. So it was like an unexpected flavor for me. I don't know if it's the best cooked bread pudding I've ever had because like you like your bread, I like my bread pudding to be a little doughy or like some kind of liquidy in the middle. And I feel like it wasn't quite as liquidy as it could be, but I would get this again probably just because I liked that orange cinnamony like flavor. Cinnamony. But
that
you
works.
didn't like it very much.
I mean,
You didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it. It was fine. I agree with you. It tasted like Christmas Eve
Yeah,
to me, and
you said like the words as soon as I was about to say them at the table.
Maybe I'm just not feeling Christmassy right now.
Make me.
Crimson, whatever.
Crimsony.
I'm not feeling crimsony right now.
But you like
That's
banana
next week.
banana bread pudding. You said.
I like
do.
banana bread pudding.
Well, and I'm with him, and so that might have been what messed me up. Maybe I was just expecting a different flavor. I don't know. I mean, it was fine. I ate it. It was cool. Yeah. I just wasn't like, wow, this is amazing. I honestly would have rather
Pete was
have had.
in love with it.
Pete did love it.
He loved it. Yeah.
I would have rather have ended my meal and got up and go have dessert somewhere else.
I think it was the amaretto flavor in it that was very hit or miss. If you're a fan of amaretto, then you would enjoy this.
I didn't even notice that, but yeah.
Overall, though, I thought this dessert was excellent. A little too much for one person to take on by themselves, not because of the size, just because of the strong flavors. But, their desserts, besides the cannoli miss, which I feel like they wouldn't miss if we would have got the big cannoli. But getting the small ones, that was a bit of a miss. But overall, I think we had a fantastic meal there. The value was good. With the ridiculous amount of food we ordered, it ended up being only like $33 per person, and that was with an extra entree and
the annual pass holder. Is that with the discount? Or that was before the discount?
That was before the discount.
Yeah.
With the discount, it took it down to like $145 because there is a 15% annual pass holder discount. Regardless, it's a really good value. I think this is still it's not forgotten because people are going there, but we rave so much about Cowfish and some of the other options at CityWalk, but Vivo is still right up there with them. Something that we should all go to a little
Oh, weren't
often.
you saying this was kind of like your default, your go-to on CityWalk? Did you say that at some point, or am I dreaming it up in my
I
head?
have like 6 of those.
Well,
and I say it a lot.
For me, it used to be like before we started doing the show in January, like I didn't really think of I never think of great food there. And then like I was excited for Cowfish to open, so that being our first thing we went to, like I was like, this is my go-to place now. Mm-hmm. And then the NBC sports
Grill and Brew.
Yeah, like I was like, oh, this is gonna be terrible. But the food there is great, and now I'm like, oh man, if somebody wants to go to eat at CityWalk, like I went to go before it was open, trying to go to it again, but they were closed because it was the grand opening, so they were doing the media event. But and then after this, I don't normally go to Italian food restaurants, which is weird because I really like Italian food, but I just don't find I enjoy the experience. Like I hate Olive Garden, and Maggiano's is okay, but I don't know. This one for me though, the number one word I would say is I felt light the entire meal. It wasn't like when I eat Italian food, I feel like you can't eat too much of it and then you immediately feel full. And I like to eat my food, and here I feel like it's like what you said. We had an appetizer, an entree, desserts, and the bread. And like, yeah, I was full when I was done, but I also ate like crazy. So I would go here again for sure.
Yeah.
Good.
So that's my take on it. Positive.
Good. Well, overall, I think we all enjoyed it. So I'm happy. I'm happy. I think anyone who's coming to Dizzapalooza in just a short time from now will absolutely enjoy
that
themselves
Manhattan.
if they choose this place, Cowfish.
Yeah, there's lots of
any
good
of the
options.
ones we've talked about.
Lots of good options there.
Yes. So, with that, I think we are going to wrap things up. But before we go, remember, I hope you are subscribing to us on YouTube, iTunes, leaving us comments and feedback, checking out our show notes page at disunplug.com, where you'll find everything from pictures, videos, the other shows like the Disney World edition, the Disneyland edition, Connecting with Walt, and near and dear to my heart, The Trip.
Yay!
No, just because I'm on that one too. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff to find there. Make sure you're following us on social media and watching out for anything that we might do on Facebook, Twitter, and Periscope, all that jazz. And if you don't, we will track you down, and we will find you, and we will kill you.
Whoa. It
Sorry,
got dark
that got
real
Liam
fast.
Neeson there.
You're going to take him? You're going to take him? I hate myself.
Yeah, okay, that was a
God, we're ending on a
failed
really
attempt
terrible
at-
note.
Yeah.
We'll see. Thank you,
I push
everyone,
this
for
button?
watching out there. Well, we won't be back next week because it's Thanksgiving Day, so everyone eat some turkey. Get ready for the big fat man in the red.
How dare you?
ho
I'm
suit.
wearing black today.
Get ready for him, and we will see you in 2 weeks. So
I'm going to push the button.
that's going to do it for this episode of the Diz Unplugged Universal Edition. But remember, Italians are universal.
Wow.